I have women and men coming into me and I analyze their body composition and they're saying to me, look, I'm doing everything right. I am doing the heavy lifting. I've cut way back on the cardio. I'm doing the sprint intervals and I feel like I'm getting fatter. And I am doing their body composition and I am telling them, you are correct.
Hi, welcome to the Judy Terrell Show, where I explore topics intended to optimize every body 50, 60, 70, and above.
Hi, everybody. Hit the weight floor and do really heavy lifting and 3 to 5 reps with adequate recovery time in between each set. So the total workload for maybe a 30 or 45 minute workout is probably about 10 minutes because you need the recovery time for that high, heavy lifting in the workout. And then hit the cardio room only for about 2 times a week, maybe 3, and you're going to do sprint interval training, and that will take you about 10-15 minutes tops, and it's 20 to 30 second full out intervals with adequate recovery. And that is what you need to do if you are a postmenopausal female or a male over 60, and that is going to be longevity and optimal health for you. Well, let me tell you what I see, because I'm in the trenches. I'm a 44-year practicing coach, and I'm 63 years old myself, and I am in the trenches with clients. I specialize in 50 plus, and here's the scenario that I'm seeing presented more and more now. I have women and men coming into me, and I analyze their body composition, and they are saying to me, look, I'm doing everything right. I am doing the heavy lifting. I've cut way back on the cardio. I'm doing the sprint intervals, and I feel like I'm getting fatter. And I am doing their body composition, and I am telling them, you are correct. So what is up with that? There are leading medical people and researchers in the over 50, realm giving us this information, and yet, it's not working when it comes to weight management, okay? And that is the key thing, all right? I am not going to tell you not to do the information, the advice that you're getting from these leading researchers, because what they are studying is how, the lack of hormones as we get older, both estrogen and testosterone and human growth hormone, they all go down for women and men once we're past 50. And we then have to add a higher intensity demand on the systems in our cells to make up for the lower amounts of these hormones. That is absolutely correct. And if we're not doing that, we're going to be losing muscle, we're going to be losing bone mass and density, and we're going to be decreasing function. And muscle is the organ of longevity. Absolutely. I am on board with all of that. But here is where I differentiate, okay? Because most of the people that are coming in for me to see me and asking me for coaching, one of their primary, objectives is fat loss, because they have gained fat, visceral fat and subcutaneous fat all over their body as they're aging, and they are desperate to want to know what to do to get that down. And so I have clients that come in, they're following the protocol that I just outlined, and yes, they might be, gaining muscle and definitely gaining strength, but with their clothes, we measure their arm circumference or their leg circumference, and it is going up. And that is because they're adding muscle, but they're not decreasing fat. And the activity level that they're doing, that they're being told is required from a week-to-week, day-to-day basis, isn't enough to create a calorie deficit by doing those protocols. And what is getting lost in the, equation of this, the baby thrown out with the bathwater kind of metaphor, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm going to tell you, like 25 years ago, 30 years ago, it was like, throw out your lifting for women, cardio, cardio, cardio. And now we're coming out 30, 40, 50 years later, and we're saying, hey, we got it wrong. It was too much of an emphasis on cardio and not enough on the muscle development, the strength, and the function. But now we're kind of doing the direct opposite. And now we're saying throw out your cardio, or at least that's the messaging that's getting heard, because that's what my clients are saying. They're coming in and saying to me, well, I follow these leading medical people, and they're telling me I don't need to do all that cardio. All right, so let me explain that to you. I'm going to use myself as a guinea pig here. Now, I live in the northeast of the United States of America, and right now it's winter. And so it's like, it was literally snowing all day today, and it was under 20 degrees, and I wasn't going outside my house, okay? So I wear an Oura ring right there. I'm an advocate for them, but the reason why I'm telling you this is that this Oura ring tells me my resting metabolic rate. Now, when I work with individuals individually and they come in my office, I have a machine that actually measures resting metabolism. But if you don't have access to that, these devices, the wearables, they'll tell you an estimated resting metabolic rate. Mine is 1,315 calories. 1,315 calories is the amount that I need to just have survival, mechanisms. My heart's beating, I'm breathing, my brain is functioning, but I'm basically sitting on my butt all day long and not moving. Then 1,300 calories is the amount that I need to sustain my life, okay? If I don't get up and do anything, like today, I was in the house, I was working on programs for clients and my PhD studies, and I was sitting for the majority of the day. And so when I look at my step count, and here's my screenshot for you, I was about 2,500 steps for the day, which is abysmally low, okay? So now that's going to boost my calorie burn rate for the day to right around 1,500, maybe 1,550. And if I only did, 15 minutes, where the workload for my sprint interval training was about 4 minutes, and I would have burned about 100 calories maybe. Now I'm up to 1,600. Now, 1,600 calories is not a lot for a day, especially given the calorie density of the ultra-processed foods that us average Americans are eating. And so I'm using myself as an example because what I just described to you is what I see with a large subpopulation of clients I'm working with who are over 50 on their day-to-day lives when they go into work and they're in a sedentary job, or they don't go to work anymore, they're working from home, and they have minimal step count because the bathroom's 5 feet away, the kitchen's 10 feet away, and there isn't a lot of stepping through the day. And for these people, which is by far the majority of people who come to me, their calorie burn rate for the day is very low. And it's really easy to eat not a lot of food and to be well over the 1,500 calories I just explained.
When you have tried all the programs and done all the right things, and yet you still can't lose the weight that you're trying to lose, and you're a male or female over 50, now is the time for you to look into my program, Your Second 50.life. It includes online video support. You can download video and PDFs for an eating plan and exercise plan appropriate for over 50. It includes group support on a monthly basis, and perhaps even more importantly, it includes weekly individualized coaching specific to you. Having the generalized plan is a good thing. I have helped literally thousands of people to lose weight over the 43 years I've been in practice, and I'd like to help you too.
Now, I am not the typical person. I am a Ironman, still competing 63-year-old athlete. And so I went in my basement where I have equipment, and I did 2 hours of sustained, moderate, like zone 2 to 3. And what does that mean? It means that on a scale of perceived exertion, if you ask me how hard I was working on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say about 6. Okay, so I was definitely sweating and working, but I was actually watching, videos on my elliptical machine and entertaining myself. So I got 2 hours worth of in higher calorie burn, which is now added to my 1,500 of my day to get me up to about 2,500 calories for the day, so I could eat like a normal person. All right, my average client is not doing that and doesn't have the time to do that. I'm not trying to advocate that you would do that much cardio, but why I'm using myself as an example, because I'm doing that much, partly because I have a certain base level of training that I have to maintain for my sport. But why I'm pointing it out to you is that if you are my average client over 50 who's trying to lose weight, you are the average person with a step count of 300 to 500,000 steps a day, then you and your body composition is you are significantly over fat, then the recommendations about stay away from the cardio is not going to serve you from a fat burning perspective. Now, why has that gotten kind of like complicated? Like, why are we being told to stay away from that? Because there is another subset of people who are doing uber amounts of cardio, not at the level 6 out of 10 that I just described, but they're going to places like Orange Theory, or they're doing Peloton workouts, and now 5, 6, 7 days a week, they are jacking their heart rates up, not to the level of the sprint intervals that is being advocated for longevity, but under that, but above the 6 level out of 10 on the perceived exertion scale, and they're in this no man's land where cortisol is now being spilled at too high of a level, and then that gets combined with then getting over hungry, because when you're doing those levels of workout, you get hungry, and what are you going to crave? Carbohydrate. So you are now getting an insulin resistance combined with a high level of cortisol, and now you are like a fat hoarding machine, even though you're killing yourself. So there's like 3 categories of workout levels that I just talked to you about. There's what's being recommended for over 50, do the heavy training and very short intervals of sprint interval, and then just walk for the rest of your, exercise. And that is failing the majority of people that I'm working with. There's the people who are doing uber amounts of too high of an intensity of cardio, and that is not working for the clients I'm working with. And then there's what I'm advocating, a mix. You need to do the strength training in the gym, whether it's really, really heavy or it's a moderate with reps is another video, but you need to do the strength training to make up for the loss or the decrease of testosterone, estrogen, and human growth hormone. You need to do like 1 or 2 of those high intensity sprint intervals because now you are getting the stimulus that the lower hormones from just aging, we're making up for that, both metabolically and on the cellular level. But what you also need to do is you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Unless you are getting over 10,000 steps a day on average, then you also need to add in a certain amount of moderate cardio where you are actually finishing it feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to face the rest of your day. And that piece cannot get thrown away if weight management is your primary goal. We all have longevity as a goal, but weight management is also a goal. And it's my interpretation that the research and the information being put out is addressing the longevity goal, but it's not addressing the in-the-moment, day-to-day weight loss goal. And that is what most people are looking for, all right? So I hope this clarified that for you. And I would encourage you, if you don't have one already, get a body composition scale and then work with a coach or a trainer or a medical practitioner who can give you the proper workout balance of the cardio and the intensity levels, of the strength training and the intensity levels. And then I didn't discuss it here, but mobility and flexibility, which is also very important as we age because we get tight and stiff. And those 3 things have to be included in a well-rounded workout plan week by week, but they are contingent, what's right for one person versus another person, on your body composition and what your goals are. And that piece, that individualized piece, is being lost in the messaging. All right, everybody? I hope to see you soon on another one of my videos. Click on my subscribe, and if you're interested in working with me, contact me. See you soon.
And if you'd like to have access to some of my additional resources, I can be found at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and on my website, www.judyterrell.com.